Loud It Podcast.
Hello, Ankedu. Welcome back to another episode of Loud It Podcast. I am Ned and Sir. And this week, my goodness, I have been on a wild ride. I have something coming up which I'm so excited about. It might be the next episode, fingers crossed if everything works out. But I'll just leave it there. I don't want to give too much of a spoiler. But yeah, something's in the works. And also of course, it's been 5 years of this journey with this podcast, which I've been mentioning throughout this month. And I've been thinking more about, video content and that sort of style. And I think God is leading me down this path of, figuring out what video content means to me and how I want to present myself and show myself. And I'm now playing around whether that means back to YouTube, my first love, or I do short form content on TikTok. So if you see me on both or either, don't be too surprised. I'm testing things out and seeing what works best for me. And I'm trying to actually talk more about my podcast to people. I am very guarded about it, I realize, and I feel very uncomfortable when I actually tell people. But I'm trying to be more out there. And actually after church, because my mum I mentioned to my mum I need to run home and record. And yes, then I'd like to say my church friends too. I don't know. But two of my mum's friends for sure. They heard and overheard that, I do a podcast, and then we talked about books. And you guys know that I've been on this reading journey over the past couple of years as well, where I've been getting more into reading again. Although A Little Life has got me on hold for such a long time. But yeah, so that's that. So firstly, I wanted to talk about this episode is what's been happening with Emma Greedy. Now, I haven't watched the content myself. If I'm honest, I haven't watched I assume it's an interview. And essentially, what I heard, let me take some notes from myself. So I heard from people who have done a bit of dissecting of what she spoke about that one of the things she mentioned is work from home. So working from home will not get you the promotion. Now, when I heard that, I thought, okay, I can see why people might find that a little bit harsh. But I think within reason, within certain, industries, it has some sense. There's some truth to it in terms of out of sight, out of mind. Because if you're not there in certain corporate environments, it's less likely. There are a lot of cases where people still get the job. So we can't take that away. But I do think there's some truth to what she's saying at the same time. And yeah, it's not a blanket rule. It varies per industry, let's say from that perspective. Another thing I saw was about work-life balance, and work-life balance is your responsibility. Now, I do think work-life balance, at least 95% is on you, actually. And that goes against how I felt in my early 20s. I thought, no, why isn't the job giving me my balance? Why isn't it giving me the life part? Because I'm really pouring in, and I enjoy pouring into my work at the same time. So it's only as I age and I start to understand, how corporate world works in general, and just how the working life works. And essentially it comes onto me. It comes onto you too. If it's not working out for you work-life balance wise, sometimes it means taking yourself out. Sometimes it means taking a pay cut. But you have to take the onus on yourself. And I mean, I am the one who, I talk about financials here and there. I wouldn't suggest, taking yourself out if you don't really have a financial backing behind yourself, unless it's really, really toxic. You can only judge that for yourself. But if it's, it's still a calm environment, you don't love it, but you're not on that hate tirades, that end of the spectrum, then I think still, stick it out and find your next opportunity. Don't just run away and then look at your pockets I beg, where's the money? Because you still have your bills to pay. You still have rent. You still have your mortgage due. You still have everything else about life that's due. You still need to eat. Don't forget about food. So yeah, basically that's that's what I took from that as well in terms of work-life balance. It really is, onus is on you. What else did she say? I had to really take notes of this because, like I said, I didn't listen to it myself. Another thing was oh yeah, everything in life, or not everything work-wise, work-related too, needs to have a purpose. Sometimes you just need to push yourself and really just get out there. I don't think with my podcast it came out of purpose. It came out of, I love listening to podcasts. Let me try doing it. I mean, I talk. I'm a yapper. So it made sense in my mind anyway. Whether anything came of it, that wasn't really my goal, to be honest, at the start. It was just, I love doing this. And then as time goes along, I'm like, you know what? I'm investing more time. Maybe I should take some aspects of it a bit more seriously 5 years later. But yeah, so I don't think everything in life needs to have purpose. Like, I don't think your job has to be your purpose. Not everyone's purpose will come from their career. It might come from family life. It might come from relationships with friends. It might come from, work in the community. It might come from church. I don't know. Like, it might come from different avenues and different streams. So think about what it means to yourself and what purpose means to you. Who do I know? Not who do I know? Sorry, what do I know? And it could be this podcast for all I know. I don't know. But it's what I'm just getting at is that purpose finds you in every shape and form. It doesn't have to be from your career. It can be from something else. So that's that. I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts on what Emma Grede said. If you've watched it yourself directly and the other points that I've missed out, tell me. I'm quite curious. I probably will watch. Will I? I have a lot on my plate this week. I do have a lot on my plate. So yeah, if there are any topics in particular, send it my way. But if you also listen to, the short clips of other people breaking it down, or short clips of her speaking, because I've also seen clips of Emma Grede talking herself. So yeah, it could be from that. And another thing I wanted to talk about, just separate to what Emma Grede, I assume she was talking about anyway, and that's the concept of managing up. Now, I've heard this a lot, particularly in my first company that I ever worked for. And essentially, it's this notion of you have your manager and you're the person reporting into them, right? And they expect you, or there's this notion of you need to manage your manager. So that can come in different ways. That might be, looking at their schedule. Oh, they have these projects on. What can I do to lighten their load? It can come in different forms, essentially. And I'm starting to think it could be a scam, because at the end of the day, you also have your job. But bear in mind, sometimes managing up is how people make it and progress faster. So take it as you may. In certain dynamics, i.e. where you actually don't really reap much from doing that, I would suggest you look at that and take it on board, because you might be getting ripped off. But yeah, in other scenarios, it could actually help you get that promotion. So look at your own and take it on board. So another thing that's actually happened more generally in the culture, and this is something where I'm going to have to put down my phone for a second. Russell Brand. This one's for you. Russell Brand has been all over my feed. And I don't know. Of course, I'm British. In fact, he's also from Essex, right? I think I saw that somewhere. Maybe on the BBC. But he's Essex, which is also something that relates to me. Don't know why I'm actually saying that. There's no relation. But essentially, he's been all over my feed, and it's been annoying me. It's been annoying me for several reasons. So there's this interview that's come out where he's talking about how he, was with a 16-year-old girl, and how, of course, the law in the UK is that being with a 16-year-old is legal. But he was 30 at that time. Bear that in mind. Legal on paper. But I don't think the reason why they brought that rule of 16 was for 30-year-olds to be sleeping with 16-year-olds. Don't think that's why they put that in place. In fact, they needed to put that in place because back in the day, men were marrying little kids. Men were marrying kids who were like 9 years old. They were marrying children. I mean, even look at, there's people in the media, Elvis Presley, how old was his wife? There were so many like different cases of this. We don't even want to get into R. Kelly. That, Aaliyah. But allegedly, let me just be using that word, allegedly. But that's what Russell Brand has brought to us. And I personally think, and I heard this online, so it's a take I'm definitely have been absorbing and trying to figure out what that means to me in my own mind. But I do believe that there is something that's being hidden. I feel that because of this interview, it's coming up as, you know, the top mention, and probably when you Google his name, this is what's going to come up, something that's legal, right? And that's to cover up all the other links that are probably still in the archives, you know, still on Google. Might have to go to page 10 now. But about the case that's currently ongoing. Yeah, there's a case that's ongoing right now. Russell Brand. Very much a few alleged cases right now. He even was in court in February, I believe, of this year. And there were 2 more counts where he's pleaded not guilty, I believe, of the R word and SA. And I'm just looking like, okay, so that's something that he's fighting right now. There's been a backlog. There's quite a few other cases. I saw another content creator talking about this. So just look on TikTok, for example. I'm sure you'll find it. And I personally think that what he's doing right now, the PR around it, is so we can flush everything else that he's been talking about. Everything else that's related to him, that's linked to him. So it'll be like, oh, no, he doesn't, you know, it doesn't happen with the underage. He does only illegal things. And, you know, there's cases out there. This is all alleged. It's all alleged. I'm just going to allegedly. But there's cases out there that he's fighting right now, which aren't with people above 16 years old. These are with children. And I think that's what he's trying to flush. That's my personal thoughts, my personal opinion. Could be wrong, but that's the impression I've been receiving so far. And then I saw he went on one of Piers Morgan's shows recently, and it was brought to light that he took a Bible to court. I think it might be in the time he went to court in February. What was the court he went to? He went to Southwark. Is it how you say it? Southwark? Southwark, hopefully. Crown Court in London. So he went there in February, and I assume that might be the time where we're referring to. He brought a Bible to court with him, and apparently he was like holding on to a few readings within the Bible. And where we were going with this with Piers Morgan is essentially he couldn't find the readings. Piers said, oh, what readings were you holding on to within that court case? He was just flicking. Couldn't find anything. Couldn't find what he was looking for clearly. So it makes me question the validity. But like I said, just my opinion. Could be very wrong, and I'm happy to, take on when I am very wrong as well, because I'm definitely not always right. I know that for a fact. But it's just they're like, sir, where are you going with this? Who's buying it? Not me. Yeah. So that's what's happened also again in the media. And then we have some, light being shed in terms of bullying. I'm a Celebrity this year. Sounds like it's been a crazy one. I didn't even know it was happening right now. I was just at my parents' house and I happened to come downstairs and see on the TV that Mo Farah was entering this underground box, cave, tunnel, something. And he was in there with 70 snakes. I think they were mentioning vipers. Now, I know that they wouldn't allow people into, life-threatening situations where they could be poisoned or really killed by these snakes. But yeah, I was shaking in my boots. Look at the way I'm even holding my necklace. That's how you know I was actually worried. But yeah, so that's what I caught, and that's when I found out that I'm a Celeb was even happening. Just to then, there's this thing about speaking about things, and then suddenly your algorithm starts showing you those things, because clearly our phones are listening. Another hot take. But yeah, then I see over about the final. I didn't even know that what I was watching was the finale. or part of the final. He was the finalist something. Yeah, so I then heard that there was these cases of bullying to do with Jimmy. I'm not going to use last names because I don't really know them, but they're celebrities nonetheless. Jimmy, Adam, and the boxer David. So what I kept on seeing is, Adam won. And I saw the clip of him, winning and the announcement, and he just looked very sad. He didn't even look like he could take in the fact that he won, which was really sad to see. But essentially, that's what happened. And then I start seeing other content of what was happening in terms of the bullying and even the live final. So the finale, you could see the cast members of this year and Ant and Dec, and then there was a live audience and they were watching that finale all together, and that looked chaotic. It looked chaotic because you then had Jimmy and David tag teaming on Adam. But let me give, a fairly balanced take on it. Balanced because I didn't watch the series myself, so I can only really take in from what I saw. So take that part with a pinch of salt. I don't know everything that's happened. But what I did see was, one challenge where Jimmy and Adam were in a pair team where Jimmy chose to do the running part of the challenge. Running, it looked more like ducking and diving. And then Adam chose the tongue aspect where you had to move this toy screw along like this bendy wire line. And there were other pairs. There was Ashley. I mean, I could be wrong. I really think she's the one from Pussycat Dolls. She looks like the Ashley that was on Pussycat Dolls, part of the band, the girl group. And there were other people. So there were different pairs. I think there were like 4 different pairs. And they all had to be part of this challenge to win stars or whatever for the camp back. And I assume it's to do with food. And only because, when I used to watch I'm a Celebrity years ago, I think it usually had to do with food rations for the rest of the camp. So the challenge starts and Adam has started his bit. Everyone else is doing their bit and Jimmy is just staying still. I kept on watching. I was just like, is he not going to try? Like, at least try a little bit and then you can say, oh, I can't do it, which would be fair. But he looked at it and he said, I can't do it. And that's also fair to an extent. But I just wish he said that before the rest of them even started the challenge. Because you now had Adam already having ants all over himself while he's doing that screw, moving it along the wire. And you have other people who have also been doing that because every pair had one of each. And you had the other people doing the ducking and diving inside mud and all these things. So everyone else was doing the challenge. And you let them do it before you said, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. You should have probably told them so they didn't start at all. That would have been the smartest move. But he didn't. He let them start and then said, I'm a celeb, which meant they got nothing. And I could understand Adam's annoyance because he's just like, you didn't even try, that sort of thing. And I think some of the other members there, like Ashley spoke, like, did you not even want to just try and see? And I understand that because I would be the same, to be honest. I'll be like, just try. Just try a little, or at least tell me before we even bother. So then we all don't do it and I don't then put myself through something that I didn't need to do in the first place. So Adam understandably was annoyed, but the way he took it, the level he took it to, it felt a bit aggressive. I must admit, hands up, it felt a bit aggressive because the words and the way he was describing and going at Jimmy, it was a bit aggressive, yes. So there's that. That's one scenario. And then you have another scenario where Adam must have dumped something. He brought like chocolate and something else back to the camp. I think he was trying to do like something good for the camp. And essentially it backfired because it meant they got less rations, less portions for their food that day. And then you had Adam being really, not Adam. So you had David, the boxer guy, being really annoyed. Like, why did you even bring back that chocolate and that other thing? It wasn't even nice. It was disgusting. Why did you do that? In fact, you shouldn't have any food today. Or if you're going to have any, you should have like the smallest portion, etc. And then you have everyone else jumping in like, no, that's not how it's going to play. That's not how it's going to run. Everyone's going to have food. Adam's like, oh, yeah, I'll give up my portion because I did X, Y, and Z. Everyone else is like, no, that's not what's going to run. Well, I say everyone else, it's mainly the women. There's another topic on that. But it's mainly the women who are speaking up like, no, Adam, no, we're not going to do that because we're all in this together. That sort of camaraderie. And you have David like, no, let's not do that. He did this, no. Like, you just have him pounding and hounding the guy. And there's other clips of like David teasing him, but it goes overboard. He goes OD with his teasing, right? Where Adam's just like, can you stop? Can you stop? Can you stop? And David, he doesn't have any stop. That button, that red button, does not exist in his world. Not, at least not in relation to Adam. So then you see in the finale, the culmination of what's happened. And they are now saying, so Jimmy and David are saying that Adam got a good edit where he was looked and viewed as, you know, damsel in distress type of thing. That's not their words. This is just me paraphrasing how I took it on. And yeah, I don't think so. I think that the show showed what happened because it also showed Adam in his bad phase too. So he got his own edit too, from what I saw anyway. So no. And Jimmy's like, yeah, I already accepted Adam's apology. We're good. So why are you still hammering and badgering the guy? That's not what you do when you've actually moved on. And then David, he's just standing 10 toes. He's standing 10 toes. And he said a lot of wild things. He has said a lot of wild things. I even saw, what is it that he said more recently? That I said to my siblings and my cousins, like, oh my gosh, this is the type of thing you say in the group chats and you don't take it outside. And he brought it outside. And this guy is a joker. Let me see if I can remember it. But Adam, poor guy. No, he went through it. He really did. David, when will he learn is the question. It's not giving that he will anytime soon. That was it. So on national television, he brought out the ugly... My God. It's this notion that ugly girls had to build their personality and therefore, you know, like they actually have a personality or a good personality as he wants to describe it. Whereas those who are conventionally beautiful by Western standards and what we see on social media, they didn't have to build a personality and they're a bit not, you know, as great personality wise and that sort of thing. And I'm just there like, oh, this is such a dude podcast kind of conversation, as well as it's more of like a group chat conversation. I don't want to talk about it even myself online. Because I'm just there like, ciao. This is such like a backchat London topic. It wasn't needed to be brought on TV. Go on backchat. Just go, sir. You clearly want that episode and you can. Have it. Take it all. Yeah, so when I saw that, I was just like, yeah, this guy's moving mad. He's moving mad. Okay. Whew. Wow. I feel like I'm talking a lot. Okay, final thing I wanted to talk about this week, and that is to do with, it's like how do I describe it? The adultification of children-centered places and occasions. Now, let me dive into that a bit further. What I mean is when you see, I don't know, like Nickelodeon Awards, for example, and you see people wearing next to nothing. And I'm just like, but this is a children's award. We're all on that same page, right? This is a children's award. So why are you not wearing child appropriate clothing? And I saw this picture of Ice Spice. You guys might have seen it, an award where she's wearing some like white meshes dress and you can see her lingerie inside or under. And I'm just there like, we didn't need to wear that to this occasion. Wrong place, ma'am. And I think about it even when I watch videos and vlogs, you know, because I like watching vlogs, and I see people go to Disneyland, and then you see a group of adults wearing like children's secondary school, like children's clothing, high school, secondary school, whatever you call it. like schoolgirl clothing, and I'm just there like, why are we doing that? Why are we wearing, not we, please, I'm not involved. Why are you wearing schoolboys outfits? How old are you? And why are you wearing it in such a skimpy manner? How about you wear the school kids outfits, where's the long skirts? A long one. And if you guys know where I grew up, I'm going to be talking to you people directly who know where I grew up. Why don't you wear the brown? Remember the brown school outfit? Long skirts. That blazer that was blue and yellow and brown. Wear that one. Instead, you'll be doing up skimpy. You'll be doing up unbuttoning. So I can now see your brazier. I don't understand how we've got there. And why is it you take this to child-centered occasions? Like, why? Wear it to the adult stuff. At least don't let the kids see this. At least, at the bare minimum, wear it to adult occasions. Even there, I'm still questioning, why are you wearing that? But at least wear it there. Why are you taking it? And that Ice Spice picture really annoyed me. It really did. Because it was so unnecessary. It didn't need to happen. But yeah, I don't know, because Hollywood is already backwards in itself. But let me not talk about that too much now, because I need to end this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. I hope you guys, see what I produce in the next episode too. Don't forget to come back next week, Monday. Don't forget to use the hashtag #LoudItPodcast. Tell me your views on my podcast. Tell me, your thoughts, etc. Give me 5-star ratings. That would be lovely. Comment. I see that people can comment on Spotify. I don't know about Apple Podcasts. If you guys listen on Google Podcasts or any other platforms, just let me know actually as well. I do see some stats, but my stats don't always break down other platforms. They break down Spotify, but not other platforms as well. But thank you guys as always for listening. This is the end of April, my birthday month, as well as the 5 years of Loud It. I'm so proud of myself, and God is giving me ideas of what to do, and I think he's showing me the way. I need to talk about why I'm saying he one episode, actually. That's something I want to dissect, because saying he when is a being, let's not unpack it this week. We'll unpack it another episode. But thank you guys as always for listening. I'll speak to you next week, Monday. Bye.